The first time Amelia saw the man at the edge of her hospital bed, she screamed so hard the heart monitor stuttered. He was crying before the doctors even grabbed him. "No," he choked, fingers locked around the rail. "Mia, please. You promised you'd know me." Two nurses pulled him back. A doctor rushed in. Her mother was suddenly there, perfume and panic, telling everyone to get security, get him out, get that man away from her daughter. Amelia pressed herself against the pillows, trembling, staring at the stranger as he fought to stay in the room. He wasn't violent. That was the terrifying part. He looked destroyed. "Tell her the truth," he shouted as they dragged him into the hallway. "Ask them what happened that night. Ask them why she calls my name in her sleep." The door slammed, and the room went quiet, except for Amelia's ragged breathing. If stories like this get under your skin and stay there long after the screen goes dark, subscribe, like the video, and stay with me until the end. Because this one doesn't just break your heart, it tears it open. Amelia Hart was 28 years old, heir to a luxury hotel empire, daughter of the most controlled woman in Briar Glen, and, according to the doctors, missing the last 2 years of her life. 2 years. Gone. She remembered college. She remembered her father's funeral. She remembered hating champagne and loving thunderstorms, and once wanting to disappear into a life no one else chose for her. But she didn't remember the accident. She didn't remember the scar that curved under her collarbone. And she definitely didn't remember the man with bloodshot eyes who had looked at her like forgetting him had killed something inside him. Her mother, Evelyn, stood near the window in an ivory suit so sharp it could have cut glass. "His name is Lucas Reed," she said, like she was talking about mold in a basement. "He used to work on the marina outside town. You had a brief, rebellious phase. He became obsessive after your accident." "Obsessive?" Amelia asked. Evelyn's jaw tightened. "You were vulnerable. He misread your kindness. Then why did he say I call his name in my sleep?" Her mother hesitated just long enough to make the room colder. "You've been confused at night. Sedatives can do that." The answer should have settled her. It didn't. That night, rain tapped against the hospital glass. Amelia drifted in and out of a thick, painful sleep until a sob woke her. Her own. A nurse was leaning over her, trying to calm her down. "You're safe," the nurse whispered. Amelia's face was wet. Her throat hurt. "Was I crying?" The nurse looked uncomfortable. "You were dreaming. Did I say anything?" A pause. Then softly, "You kept saying, 'Lucas, don't let her fall.'" Amelia stopped breathing for a second. "Her?" she whispered. But the nurse had already looked away. When Amelia was released a week later, Evelyn took her home to the Hart estate, a place so large it felt less like a home and more like a beautifully furnished threat. Fresh flowers in every room, staff walking on silent feet. Her childhood piano polished, her old room redesigned into something adult and expensive and completely unfamiliar. On the dresser sat framed photos of charity events, business dinners, her mother at galas. Nothing else. No vacations, no friends, no candid moments from the missing years. It was as if those years had been professionally erased. And then Graham walked in. Tall, polished, expensive smile. His tie probably cost more than most people's rent. He crossed the room with easy confidence and kissed Amelia gently on the forehead like it belonged to him. "There's my girl,"
he said. Her stomach turned. Not because he had done anything obvious. That almost made it worse. Graham Cole looked perfect on paper. Family friend, corporate attorney, charming in the way men become when they've spent their whole lives being applauded for breathing. But when he touched her hand, Amelia felt nothing. No warmth. No recognition. Just a strange, instinctive urge to pull away. Graham noticed. Still getting used to everything? She nodded. He smiled softly, but something in his eyes sharpened. It's okay. I'm not going anywhere this time. This time. The words snagged in her chest. Later, she found out from a housekeeper that Graham had visited every day while she was unconscious, brought flowers, spoke with doctors, handled press inquiries, protected the family from scandal. Scandal. That word again. Every answer in that house seemed to come wrapped in it. 3 nights later, Amelia woke to her own voice echoing off the walls. Lucas! She was sitting upright, shaking, hands clutched in the blanket so hard her nails ripped threads loose. Rosa, the oldest housekeeper in the mansion, rushed in with water. Amelia could barely speak. I did it again? Rosa nodded carefully. Yes. What else did I say? Rosa hesitated. Her eyes were kind, but frightened. You asked him where the baby was. The glass slipped from Amelia's hand and shattered across the floor. For a moment, all she could hear was ringing. The what? Rosa bent quickly, maybe to clean, maybe to avoid her eyes. I'm sorry. Perhaps I heard wrong. No, Rosa. Look at me. The older woman looked up. Did I say baby?
Rosa's face broke before her words did. Yes, miss. Evelyn called the next morning before Amelia could even leave her room. Someone had told her. There was no baby, her mother said flatly. Amelia stared at her. Then why am I asking for one in my sleep? Because trauma scrambles things. Dreams are nonsense. Amelia laughed once, but it wasn't humor. Funny. My dreams feel more honest than this house. Evelyn's expression hardened. You need rest, not old ghosts. That afternoon, Amelia found a locked drawer in the study her mother had somehow forgotten to clear. Inside was a velvet ring box, empty, but the satin interior held the faint imprint of a band. Her hands started shaking. When Graham arrived that evening with white roses and his rehearsed sympathy, Amelia held up the box. What was in here? He barely blinked. An old family piece, I think. You think? Amelia, you really shouldn't dig through things while you're recovering. There it was. Not concern. Control. She looked at him carefully. Were we together before the accident? He smiled. We were about to announce our engagement. About to? Something flickered across his face. We had a few complications. Complications. She nearly laughed again. Every person in that house spoke like a press release. 2 days later, Amelia saw Lucas for the second time. Not in her house, not in a hospital. At the cemetery. She had gone there because of a dream she couldn't shake. Rain, headlights, the smell of salt water, and a voice breaking apart as it begged someone named Lily to hold on. She didn't even know why her feet had taken her to the older end of Briar Glen Cemetery. Until she saw him. Lucas was kneeling in front of a small white headstone, shoulders bent, one hand braced against the wet grass like he might collapse without it. He didn't hear her approach. Amelia did.
because carved into the stone were the words, Lily Hart Reed, loved before she took her first breath. Amelia went cold from scalp to heel. Lucas looked up. For a second, neither of them moved. Then he stood too quickly, eyes wide with panic. "You shouldn't be here." She pointed at the stone with a hand that wouldn't stop shaking. "Why does it have my last name?" His face emptied of color. "Who is Lily?" she whispered. When he answered, his voice was barely there. "Our daughter." Amelia staggered back like he had hit her. "No." His eyes filled instantly. "Mia, don't call me that. You used to ask me to when you were scared." "I said don't!" Her voice cracked. "You're lying." He flinched, and that somehow made it worse. "I wish I was." She looked at the dates.
There were none. Just the name. Just the sentence underneath. Loved before she took her first breath. Suddenly the dreams weren't dreams. They were wounds. "No one told me," she said, horrified. Lucas swallowed hard. "I know. You expect me to believe I had a baby and forgot her?" He shook his head, tears sliding down without permission. "No. I expect you to believe they let you." That sentence landed like thunder. Before Amelia could answer, tires crunched on gravel behind them. Graham. Of course. He got out of the car fast, anger hidden under concern. "Amelia, what are you doing here?" She didn't even look at him. "Who is Lily?" Graham shot Lucas a warning look, sharp enough to draw blood. "This isn't the place." Amelia turned on him. "Then where is the place? Because apparently nobody in my life can tell the truth in one." Graham stepped closer. "He's manipulating you." Lucas laughed once, bitter and broken. "You mean like you manipulated hospital staff? Like you manipulated her mother? Like you manipulated the police?" "Shut up," Graham snapped. It was the first honest thing Amelia had seen from him. She stared between them, heart thundering. And for the first time, she wondered if the wrong man had been dragged out of her hospital room. That night, Amelia tore her room apart. She found nothing in the closets, nothing in the drawers, nothing in the bathroom cabinets. But behind a loose panel in the base of her old vanity, she found a phone wrapped in a silk scarf. It was dead. She sat on the floor charging it with trembling hands, knees pulled to her chest, feeling like a burglar in her own life. When it finally lit up, her breath vanished. The wallpaper was a photo of her and Lucas on a dock at sunset. She was laughing into his shoulder. He was kissing her temple. And on her left hand was a wedding band. Her fingers stopped working for a second. There were hundreds of photos. A tiny rented house near the marina, takeout boxes on a kitchen counter, paint on Lucas's cheek while Amelia laughed behind the camera. A positive pregnancy test in her hand. A video. She opened it. The screen shook, then steadied. Amelia was standing in front of a lighthouse in a simple cream dress, hair whipped by ocean wind, crying and smiling all at once. Lucas stood across from her in a dark suit that fit like he'd borrowed luck to wear it. A minister laughed softly. "Repeat after me." Amelia looked at Lucas like the world had ended everywhere else and started over only in him. "I choose you," she said through tears. "On the easy days, on the impossible days, and on every day when life gives us a reason to run." Lucas was already crying. "I choose you when you're stubborn, when you're scared, When you pretend you're fine and I know you're not. I choose you when it hurts. I choose you when it heals. Present. Amelia dropped the phone. A sound tore out of her that didn't sound human. Rosa came running in. When she saw the phone in Amelia's hands, she closed the door behind her. You knew, Amelia whispered. Rosa's eyes filled. I knew enough. Why didn't you tell me? Because they fired anyone who tried. That froze the room. Amelia stood slowly. Tell me everything. Rosa looked terrified, but something in her finally gave up resisting. You married him 6 months ago, in secret. Your mother wanted you with Mr. Cole. She said Lucas would ruin your future. You said you'd rather ruin her plans than your own life. Amelia covered her mouth. Rosa kept going, voice trembling now too. Then you became pregnant. You wanted to announce both at a family fundraiser. That night never came. Because of the accident. Rosa nodded. Amelia forced the next words out. How did Lily die? Rosa cried then, quietly. The kind of crying that had been waiting a long time. She never got the chance to live, miss. You were 7 months pregnant. Amelia folded in half. No scream this time, just a low, wounded sound as the truth finally found its target. She had been a mother. For 7 months, she had carried a child under her heart, and someone had allowed her to wake up believing that part of her never existed. When Evelyn found her the next morning, Amelia was still sitting on the floor with the wedding video paused on Lucas's face. There was no point pretending anymore. You lied to me. Evelyn closed the door. I protected you. You buried me. I spared you. You erased my husband. That man dragged you into a life beneath you and then drove you into a guardrail. Amelia stood so fast the chair behind her tipped over. Don't. Evelyn's own restraint finally cracked. I watched you throw yourself away for a man who could never give you the life you deserved. He gave me love. And what did love give you? Evelyn shot back. A dead child? A broken body? A public scandal? The silence after that felt evil. Amelia stared at her mother as if seeing her for the first time. Then she said, very quietly, Did you ever love me at all? Or just the version of me that obeyed? Evelyn's face changed, but too late. Amelia walked past her. Graham was waiting downstairs. Of course he was. He took one look at Amelia's face and knew the walls were finally down. We need to talk, he said. No, Amelia answered. You need to start. He tried calm first. Your mother is emotional. Lucas filled your head with half-truths. I saw the wedding video. Graham's jaw flexed. I saw the pregnancy test. I saw our house. I saw my ring. Her voice shook harder with every word. Were you ever going to tell me I was married? He stepped closer. You were confused, vulnerable. He took advantage of that. Amelia laughed, and the sound made even her skin crawl. You keep saying that. It's strange, Graham, because every memory I find makes him look more like my home, and you look more like a locked door. His expression finally lost its polish. Be careful, he said. That was it. The smile was gone. The mask was gone. And for 1 second, Amelia saw what lived underneath the expensive suit and gentle voice. A man who thought possession was love. That evening, she called Lucas from the hidden phone. He answered on the first ring, but said nothing. She could hear him breathing. So could she. Finally, Amelia whispered, "I saw the video." The silence on his end splintered. Then came a shaky exhale, like he had been holding his lungs together for weeks. "Are you okay?" No one had asked her that honestly in days. "I don't know." "Where are you?" "At the old pier." He was there in 5 minutes. Lucas looked rougher up close than she remembered from the cemetery. A scar near his jaw. Dark circles that belonged to someone who hadn't slept right in a long time. Hands nicked and calloused. Grief sitting on him like weather. He stopped a few feet away, like getting any closer might scare her off. Amelia hated how much that hurt. "Tell me about her," she said. He closed his eyes. "Lily?" She nodded. For a moment he couldn't speak. Then he looked out at the water and forced himself through it. "You sang to her when you thought no one was listening. You talked to her in grocery stores. You complained she kicked hardest when you were trying to sleep." A small, wrecked smile crossed his face. "You wanted to teach her to swim before your mother could teach her to judge people." Amelia laughed through tears. Lucas's voice broke. "You painted a room yellow because you said pink was a trap." And suddenly, Amelia was crying so hard she couldn't see. Lucas took one instinctive step forward, then stopped himself. That destroyed her more than if he'd touched her. "What happened that night?" she asked. He went still. "We were driving back from the marina," he said. "You'd finally decided to tell the whole town. You were done hiding us. It was raining hard. Then headlights started tailing us. Too close. Too fast." Something flashed in Amelia's mind. Wet glass. Her hand over her belly. Fear. Lucas looked at her carefully. "Do you remember anything?" A whisper of a memory slid in like a blade. "Someone was behind us." His face changed. "You remember that?" "Just a feeling." Lucas swallowed. "The brakes failed when we hit the bridge turn." Amelia's blood turned to ice. "He cut around us. Black SUV. I saw the plate for half a second before we hit the rail." Lucas's hands were shaking now. "I tried to hold the wheel. Tried to protect you. I got you out. You were bleeding and screaming my name and asking if Lily was okay." He broke completely on that last sentence. "I knew she wasn't," he said, voice collapsing. "I knew before the ambulance came." Amelia's knees gave out. Lucas caught her without thinking. The second his arms wrapped around her, something in her chest recognized home before her mind could argue. She pulled away first, terrified by how much it felt like remembering. "Whose SUV?" she asked. Lucas looked at her for a long second. Then he said, "Graham's." The world narrowed. "That's impossible." "He swore I was making it up. Your mother backed him. Then the police found alcohol in the truck I hadn't touched. Case closed." His laugh was dead. "Funny thing, the hospital toxicology report said otherwise. It vanished." Amelia stared at him. If he was telling the truth, then this wasn't just betrayal. It was a burial. The next day, Dr. Soren arrived for a home visit and found Amelia sitting at the dining table with the hospital phone records spread in front of her. He looked exhausted before he even spoke. "You weren't supposed to get those." "Neither was I supposed to lose my entire life," Amelia said. "Yet here we are." He sat down slowly. "Your mother asked us not to overload you." Did she also ask you to sedate me when I mentioned my husband? His face answered before his mouth did. Amelia felt sick. What did I say when I first woke up after the accident? He rubbed a hand over his mouth. You were in distress. What did I say? After a long silence, he whispered, You said someone cut the brakes. You said Graham was following you. Amelia's chair scraped the floor as she stood up. And you let them call me delusional? I was told it was trauma memory. I was told you had a history of conflict with him. So you believed the Rich family. How original. He accepted that. Before he left, he put a small envelope on the table. I shouldn't have kept this, he said. But guilt is a stubborn disease. Inside was a memory card. From the truck, he said. The police said it was corrupted. Is it? His eyes met hers. I never checked. That night, Amelia went to Lucas. They watched the recovered footage together on his old laptop in the tiny house she used to share with him. The camera caught rain, wipers, her voice, laughing about baby names. Then bright headlights flooded the rear window. Amelia on screen turned in her seat. Lucas! The truck jolted. A black SUV swerved up alongside them for half a second, just enough for the driver's face to catch a lightning flash. Graham. Then Amelia's own terrified voice screamed from the speakers, He cut the brakes! The impact came next. The laptop went black. Amelia couldn't breathe, because with the footage came a flood of memory so violent it felt like drowning. Her hand on her stomach, Lucas shouting her name, metal twisting, glass exploding. The impossible weight of silence where a heartbeat should have been. And Graham standing in the rain afterward, outside the shattered truck, watching. Watching. Not helping, just watching. Amelia folded over, choking on sobs. Lucas came around the table instantly, but he didn't touch her until she reached for him. Then he held her while she shook apart. I'm sorry, she gasped. I'm sorry I forgot. I'm sorry I left you alone with all of it. He pressed his face into her hair, crying too. You didn't leave me. They took you. That should have been the end of the lie. It wasn't. Because Graham announced the next morning that the Heart Foundation Gala would go ahead as planned that weekend. And during the gala, he intended to ask Amelia to marry him. Publicly. The invitation had already gone out. The whole town would be there. Her mother expected her to smile. Graham expected gratitude. The same people who helped bury her truth expected applause. Amelia stared at the gold invitation in her hand. Then she looked at Lucas. For the first time since she'd met him again, there was no fear in her eyes. Only fire. Good, she said. Let him ask. The gala glittered. Crystal lights, soft violins, people in tailored black and polite lies. Amelia descended the staircase in silver silk while conversations paused around her like worship. Evelyn stood at the bottom, pale and rigid. You don't have to do this, her mother whispered. Amelia smiled without warmth. That's the first true thing you've said in weeks. Half an hour later, Graham took the stage. He spoke beautifully, of course, about loyalty, about second chances, about standing by the people you love when life gets cruel. People dabbed at their eyes. People smiled. Amelia almost admired the performance. Then he got down on one knee. The room inhaled. Amelia Hart, Graham said into the microphone, holding up a diamond large enough to blind strangers.
We have endured more than most people ever could. But I have never stopped loving you. Let me protect you. Let me give you the life you deserve. Marry me. Silence. Every camera turned toward her. Amelia stepped forward slowly, took the microphone from his hand, and for one aching second, she let the whole room believe she was about to say yes. Then she turned to the projection screen behind him. Actually, she said, voice clear as glass, before I answer, I think everyone should see the night my life ended. Graham stood up too fast. Amelia! The screen lit up. Rain. Wipers. Her laugh. Then headlights. Then Graham's face in the storm-lit window beside them. Then her own recorded scream. He cut the brakes! The ballroom detonated into chaos. Gasps, shouts, chairs scraping, phones lifted. Graham lunged for the controls, but Lucas was already there, stepping between him and the stage with a calm so lethal it made the room part around him. Graham's mask shattered in public. You stupid little mechanic, he spat. Lucas didn't flinch. You should have let the dead stay buried, right? Security moved in. Evelyn stood frozen, white as marble. Amelia faced her mother in front of everyone. You knew. Evelyn's lips trembled.
I didn't know he would go that far. But you knew enough to help him after. Tears rose in Evelyn's eyes for the first time Amelia could remember. I thought I was saving you. Amelia's voice shook, but it never dropped. You let me mourn nothing, because the truth was inconvenient. Police arrived before anyone could recover. Graham tried charm first, then rage, then denial. None of it mattered, because the whole town had just seen him in the rain, following the woman who chose another man, seconds before her brakes failed. As they led him away, he looked back at Amelia, face twisted. I loved you. Amelia stared at him like he was filth on the floor. No, she said. You wanted to win. The room exploded into whispers, but Amelia barely heard them, because Lucas was standing 10 feet away, breathing hard, tie half loose, eyes locked on her like he still couldn't believe she was here, that this was real, that she had fought her way back. She walked straight past the cameras, past the gasps, past the ruined ring on the carpet, and into his arms. Not because it fixed anything, not because grief had vanished, but because some loves survive even the part of you that forgets. 3 days later, Amelia went to Lily's grave with fresh yellow daisies. Lucas stood beside her in silence while wind moved through the cemetery trees. I remember her room, Amelia whispered. He turned. The yellow paint, she said, tears gathering. You got it all over your hands, and I laughed at you because you tried to wipe it off with my towel. Lucas let out a sound halfway between a laugh and a sob. I remember, she said again, stronger this time. Not all of it, but enough. He nodded, crying openly now. Amelia knelt and touched the white stone. I forgot you, she whispered to the daughter she never got to hold. And I will hate that for the rest of my life. But I swear to you, I will never let them erase you again. She stood and turned to Lucas. There were still scars between them, lost time, missing pieces, nights that would come back hard and cruel. But for the first time, hope didn't feel disrespectful to grief. It felt like survival. I can't promise every memory will return, she said. Lucas wiped his face. I know. But if you still want me, he let out a broken laugh. Mia. She stepped closer. If you still want me, she said again, voice shaking now, then tell me everything. Every story, every stupid little argument, every kick she gave me at 3 a.m. Tell me all the parts they stole. And if I have to, she swallowed, if I have to fall in love with you again, then be patient while I do it. Lucas looked at her like men look at miracles they don't trust themselves to touch. Then, very gently, he reached for her hand. I never stopped choosing you, he whispered. Amelia laced her fingers through his. And standing there, between the man she had lost and the daughter she would carry forever, she finally understood something cruel and beautiful at once. Sometimes the mind forgets to survive, but the heart remembers because it refuses to. Do you believe love can still find its way home, even after everything that should have destroyed it?